Hello, I'm Erwin at the Elk Grove Village Public Library with a quick review of the poetry book, When I Grow Up I Want to Be, A List of Further Possibilities by Chen Chen. The book was published in 2017. Let's start with the last line of a poem. The poem is kind of an ode to the work commute, and there are briefcases, and thoughts about meeting strangers. And the poem ends with the idea that we continue meeting as if we've just been given our names. This reminds me of what reading good poetry can do. It's not always about reading something that feels new. A good poem can make you want to change your mindset. The poems in When I Grow Up mostly fit on one page. The word kiss makes many appearances. A mother is a matter of refrain. There are a lot of funny lines in the book, like this one from I'm not a religious person, but where an angel sent from God is proficient in fetching coffee, sending super vague emails. One thing that comes up during some conversations about reading poetry is how difficult it can be. Digging through layers of meaning, teasing out ambiguity, and looking up references and definitions. While all of that can help with reading a poem, and while some poems might be particularly dense or seem to require multiple close readings, many poems, I think, don't need to be difficult and aren't meant to be. I think part of it is self-fulfilling prophecy. If you go into something expecting to have a hard time with it, you will tend to have a hard time with it. While I often like ambiguity in a poem, and while close reading can be rewarding, I think many poems are not trying to be mystifying. I think a lot of times a poem just means what it means to you, the reader, and it might mean different things to different people. I don't think the average reader will have to look up many words in When I Grow Up. That's not to say that the poems are simple or easy. Take this line, the first in one of the book's early poems. My mother was in the hospital and everyone wanted to be my friend. I think it's funny. I think it's clever. I think it probably says a lot in not a lot of words. I think it touches on sympathy, empathy, how people can act differently around you when a loved one is sick. It might mean more or less to someone who has recently spent time in a hospital. But I don't think the line is difficult to understand. I think it will mean something to most people right away, and it might even sound like something you've thought before. And if the writing feels colloquial, it doesn't mean that it was easy to write. From the poem Race to the Tree, and my eyes hurt in the growing. Here is a full sentence spread over 3 lines. It was morning, and my eyes hurt in the growing light. That sentence could be broken up into lines different ways. The way Chen Chen chose to break the lines makes me think, and my eyes hurt in the growing might mean something on its own, maybe something poetic. Then, when I read the word light, the phrase makes more traditional sense. Let's say that this was a little bit of close reading. It didn't take much more effort than reading it as a line of prose in a story. It was morning and my eyes hurt in the growing light. Chen Chen is able to create striking images. Here is one of them. I said, "Good luck at the race today," then closed my eyes, thought of night, of the moon bobbing through it, like an Adam's apple. Here are a few of my other favorite lines from the book. The sun sets like a whispered regret behind the hills, or is that a mountain? How I did not know those flowers were already memory. The day the window grew till it no longer fit the house. Every day I am asked to care about white people. Every spring my windows open and ugly happens. Here is a great example of a title leading into the first line of a prose poem. Night falls like a button from your grandmother's coat. Some of what I like about When I Grow Up is that some of the lines seem like things I've already thought. Here is an excerpt that reminds me of my own thinking process sometimes. In my wooded dark, I try insisting on a supremely tall, never lonely someone. But every kind of someone needs someone else to insist with. I need. It's not the you I have memorized and recited and mistaken for the universe, another you. Maybe sometimes the way to approach a poem or a book of poems is not by preparing yourself for a difficult task. Maybe sometimes all you have to do is hope to be surprised and approach each poem ready for something, like being ready to meet people as if we'd just been given our names.